Singapore may be a tiny dot on the world map, but this small island nation holds incredible power. Imagine this, without Singapore, some of the world's biggest economies would be in serious trouble, possibly even facing collapse. From global trade routes to advanced technology and financial networks, Singapore's influence reaches every corner of the globe. But which countries would struggle the most without it? You'll be surprised to see just how many depend on Singapore to keep their economies afloat: Indonesia, China, the United States, and many more. Let's dive into the top 15 countries that simply couldn't survive without Singapore. 1. Indonesia. Indonesia and Singapore share not only geographic proximity but also deep economic ties, particularly in trade and logistics. Singapore serves as a transshipment hub for Indonesian goods, especially for exports bound for the global market. With Singapore's efficient ports and global shipping connections, Indonesian products ranging from electronics and textiles to oil and gas are quickly and reliably transported worldwide. Beyond just handling goods, Singaporean investments play a pivotal role in Indonesia's infrastructure, development projects, and industry, injecting billions into the Indonesian economy. Without Singapore, Indonesia would face major logistical challenges, higher shipping costs, and a gap in essential foreign investment, impacting everything from job creation to economic growth. 2. Malaysia. Malaysia's economic relationship with Singapore is one of the closest and most interconnected in Southeast Asia. The two nations depend on each other across numerous sectors, but trade is one of the most critical. Many Malaysian exports, including palm oil, rubber, electronics, and machinery, are routed through Singapore's port before reaching the global market. Additionally, Malaysia relies on Singapore for tourism, finance, and cross-border investment, especially from Singapore's well-established industries. If Singapore were suddenly unavailable as a trade and finance partner, Malaysia would face considerable logistical disruptions, reduced export efficiency, and a loss of tourism revenue, straining its economy and hampering trade. 3. China. China's reliance on Singapore is rooted in both logistics and finance. As a primary transshipment point for Chinese goods heading to Western markets, Singapore plays an instrumental role in ensuring smooth, cost-effective trade flows for Chinese exports. Singapore also attracts significant Chinese investments and provides a platform for Chinese firms to reach Southeast Asian markets efficiently. Without Singapore, China's trade routes to many parts of the world would be slower and more expensive, and regional financial transactions could face obstacles, straining China's trade and economic operations. 4. Japan. Japan's dependency on Singapore goes beyond geography. It's rooted in logistics, finance, and stability. Singapore's well-developed port and efficient infrastructure make it an invaluable trade partner for Japan, which exports a vast range of goods to the region and beyond. Many Japanese businesses have also chosen Singapore as a base for their Southeast Asian operations, thanks to its business-friendly policies and economic stability. If Singapore were suddenly unavailable, Japan would face increased shipping costs and disruptions in regional trade. Additionally, Japanese companies might have to reconsider their regional logistics strategies, potentially facing delays and increased operational costs across Southeast Asia. 5. United States. The United States has a strong financial relationship with Singapore, with many American companies establishing their Asian headquarters there. For US-based multinationals, Singapore offers a stable base from which to conduct operations, allowing easy access to Southeast Asia's growing markets. The regulatory environment in Singapore is favorable for foreign companies, and its financial system provides security and transparency. If Singapore were unavailable, American companies would face challenges operating smoothly in Asia, potentially losing access to important markets, and face higher costs in managing business operations across the region. 6. India. India sees Singapore as a major source of foreign direct investment, especially in technology, infrastructure, and financial services. Singapore's investments help boost India's economy, particularly its thriving tech sector and urban development projects. For Indian startups and tech companies, Singapore represents a gateway to regional markets and a source of valuable investment capital. If Singapore's financial stability and investment potential disappeared, India's tech and startup ecosystem would lose a critical supporter, slowing down its growth and potentially impacting employment and innovation in the region. 7. Australia. Australia leverages Singapore's position as a financial and logistical hub to strengthen its connections with Asia. Australian businesses operate through Singapore to gain better access to Asian markets, benefiting from its efficient banking, investment, and regulatory systems. Singapore's banking sector also provides a vital source of financing for Australian projects across the region. Without Singapore, Australia would struggle to maintain its economic influence in Asia, facing logistical and financial challenges that would impact trade, investments, and regional ties. 8. United Kingdom. The United Kingdom has long-standing economic ties with Singapore, using it as a hub for business operations and investments in Asia. British companies find Singapore's regulatory environment conducive to managing operations and gaining market access to Southeast Asia. Without Singapore, UK companies would lose a critical base, facing disruptions in their Asian operations and difficulties in accessing the region's markets. This setback would lead to a ripple effect, potentially impacting trade and investment relationships between the UK and Asian nations. 9. Vietnam. Vietnam's tech sector has grown rapidly in recent years, in part thanks to Singapore's investments and support in digital infrastructure. Singaporean companies and venture capital firms have fueled Vietnam's startup ecosystem, promoting innovation in various industries, including e-commerce and fintech. If Singapore were no longer an active tech partner, Vietnam's tech sector would face a severe slowdown, impacting its economic growth and reducing its competitiveness in the global tech market. 10. Philippines. The Philippines has seen a significant boost in its tech and digital sectors, with Singapore playing a key role in providing investments and expertise. Singapore's strong presence in the Philippines' technology ecosystem has contributed to the growth of digital infrastructure, e-commerce, and tech-driven startups. Many of the Philippines' largest tech firms in digital platforms have benefited from Singaporean venture capital, which has helped fuel their expansion into regional and global markets. Without Singapore's ongoing support, the Philippines would face setbacks in its efforts to build a robust digital economy. Its tech startups would struggle to secure the necessary funding, slowing down innovation and limiting job creation, while also hindering the country's transition into a more digitalized economy. 11. Thailand. Thailand's thriving startup scene has heavily benefited from Singapore's tech infrastructure and investment. Singaporean venture capital has been crucial in the development of new tech companies in Thailand, while the proximity to Singapore allows Thai businesses to tap into regional networks and markets. The collaboration between Singapore's tech giants and Thailand's growing digital ecosystem has facilitated knowledge exchange, infrastructure development, and business partnerships. Without Singapore, Thailand's tech industry would lose its most critical regional partner, severely disrupting its efforts to expand digital services, hinder innovation, and potentially leading to a slowdown in the development of its startup culture and digital economy. 12. South Korea. South Korea's relationship with Singapore in the realm of technology and business expansion is mutually beneficial. South Korean companies have long relied on Singapore as a gateway into Southeast Asia, using the city-state's infrastructure, financial services, and logistical expertise to facilitate expansion throughout the region. Singapore's advanced technology sector also complements South Korea's innovation-driven industries, fostering collaborations and partnerships in the tech space. Without Singapore, South Korean firms would face increased barriers to Southeast Asian markets, including reduced access to high-tech infrastructure, logistical support, and business financing. The absence of such a crucial partner could dampen South Korea's growth prospects in the region and slow the progress of its technological advancements. 13. Brunei. Brunei, an oil-rich nation, relies on Singapore for a crucial component of its oil industry, refining. Much of Brunei's crude oil is transported to Singapore, where it is processed and then exported globally. Singapore's world-class refineries and infrastructure ensure that Brunei's energy exports are handled efficiently, allowing the country to reach global markets. Without Singapore's refining capabilities, Brunei would face significant challenges in exporting its oil, potentially losing revenue and facing a backlog in production. This disruption could severely impact the country's economy, which depends heavily on the oil sector for its financial stability and prosperity. 14. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, the world's largest oil exporter, relies on Singapore as a key energy trading hub for its oil exports to Asia. Singapore acts as an intermediary for Saudi Arabia's oil shipments, facilitating the transportation and distribution of energy resources across the Southeast Asian region. Without Singapore's strategic position and energy infrastructure, Saudi Arabia's oil supply chain would be compromised, leading to potential disruptions in oil flow and higher transportation costs. Additionally, Singapore's role in energy innovation and sustainability is important for Saudi Arabia, as both countries work on future energy projects and transitioning to renewable energy. The loss of Singapore's involvement would result in missed opportunities and challenges in maintaining energy partnerships in the region. 15. Myanmar. Myanmar has deep economic ties with Singapore, especially in the areas of trade, investment, and resource management. Singapore plays an essential role in Myanmar's access to international markets, helping stabilize its economy through investments in various sectors such as energy, infrastructure, and manufacturing. Many Singaporean companies operate in Myanmar, contributing to job creation and economic development. The country also relies on Singapore for expertise in managing its resources, particularly in the energy sector. Without Singapore's involvement, Myanmar's economy would face major instability. Trade with regional and global partners would be severely affected, as Myanmar loses access to crucial investments and the logistical support necessary to maintain its energy and resource management systems. Throughout this video, we've explored just how integral Singapore is to the success and stability of several countries across the globe. From trade and logistics to finance, technology, and energy, Singapore plays a pivotal role in the economies of nations large and small. The absence of Singapore would not just cause inconvenience, it would lead to a cascade of disruptions that could affect everything from supply chains to job markets, innovation, and even political stability. Despite its small size, Singapore's influence far exceeds its borders, proving that even the most seemingly insignificant players can have a profound global impact. It's a reminder that the world is far more interconnected than we often realize, and the loss of a key player like Singapore would have far-reaching consequences. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with friends. Let us know in the comments which country you think would be most affected by the loss of Singapore. Your thoughts could be featured in our next video.